Celebration 86 and tonight's live telecast are made possible with financial support from the National Endowment for the Arts, the Alaska Legislature through a grant to the Alaska Department of Education, the City and Borough of Juneau, Cluckwan Incorporated, Sealaska Corporation, and the Alaska State Council on the Arts.
They made history when they came together in Juneau in 1982. It was the first time the people of the Tsimshian, the Haida, and the Tlingit nations had ever gathered to share their most precious cultural traditions in song, story, and dance. They returned to Juneau for another unforgettable celebration in 1984. Now, the three nations have reunited in Juneau for Celebration 86. This special live telecast is a production of KTOO Television in cooperation with the Sealaska Heritage Foundation.
The last t-shirt.
Welcome to our live coverage of Celebration 86 here in Centennial Hall in Juneau, Alaska. We're bringing you this live coverage from KTOO Television in Juneau, and we'd also like to make note and welcome our statewide audience watching this broadcast over the Rural Alaska Television Network. We're into the third day of Celebration 86. These are the closing ceremonies that will be wrapping up later this evening. Celebration 86 is a united gathering of the Tlingit, the Haida, and the Tsimshian nations of Southeast Alaska, who have gotten together to share their culture and their traditions with their songs, their stories, and their dances. With me tonight is Tom Jackson Sr., who's from Cake. Tom has played an integral role in planning for Celebration 86, which, by the way, is sponsored by the Sealaska Heritage Foundation. And Tom is also a Nakani, and you might want to explain what a Nakani is. That's an important role in this celebration, and it's an important role, as I understand it, in terms of native tradition. What is a Nakani?
And Nakani means tribal brother-in-law. Now, I am an eagle, so I'm a tribal brother-in-law for the ravens. Not for the eagles, for the ravens. And then there are two others that are ravens that are Nakani for the eagles. I'm the only one against the two.
As a Nakani at this celebration, you have functioned, I suppose in English, as a master of ceremonies. Is that what a Nakani does in traditional gatherings?
A little bit of what we're doing here. Let me tell you of an incident where my grandfather was telling me. He died about 2 years ago. He was married to my grandmother. Whenever our tribe is going to do anything, our men folks would call him in. Nakani, tribal brother-in-law, we are going to send you on a mission. Listen close. We are going to send you on a mission. This is what we want you to say when we sent you to this one particular place. And this Nakani has to practically almost repeat word for word from his memory as to what his brother-in-laws had instructed him to say.
That's quite a task.
That is a task. And if there's any slip in a word, there's no way of correction. And that's why the man's got to have a sharp, keen, a sharp mind, you know. It was that important. This one here, we're just imitating, really, by name, you know. But you will hear me tonight at the closing. This is, to me, has been a wonderful thing for me. I humble myself to serve my people. Such a title to go with me in this celebration, you know.
That is quite an honor to be an Akani for this celebration.
That's right. That's the word, an honor. It is an honor that they bestowed upon me.
Well, it has certainly been an amazing 3 days. We have seen, I believe, at least 20 dance groups. We've heard speeches and we've heard songs and stories. It's been an incredible experience, I think, for Native people and non-Native people alike. And as a non-Native person, I have felt very much a part of this. I assume that's intentional.
That's right.
There have been a lot of translations of Native language so that non-speaking people can understand things, for instance. You've been doing some of that yourself.
That's true. That's true. And it really, I think, every celebration, this is the second one I have attended. I never attended the first one. But looking at this one from the last 2 years ago, there has been a great improvement made, a great improvement. And especially that what was that, this theater?
The Nakahiti Theater.
Nakahiti Theater. Mm-hmm. That play that was put on, I think that was just wonderful.
Well, we'll be seeing a little bit of that performance. We have that pre-recorded on tape, and we'll be showing our viewers that in a little bit later in the evening. I think it's also important to talk a little bit about the theme of this. You spoke eloquently about it the other day, the theme of this particular celebration.
Yes.
Why don't you tell people what that is?
Yes. They started talking about it at our last meeting, and they finally brought this up. And it came back to me that we are talking about the children, the future children we're hoping to see later on. But there are many children now. We're thinking about them. And the love these young people have, you know, they don't carry any feelings like us older people do. Nothing, the sun never sets on their feelings toward their fellow men. These children, maybe they get in a fight here. Next thing you know, they're playing together and laughing together. This is the type that we are looking for, you know, not to carry grudges, you know, prolonged. And so it came back to me. Why not call it Nayatke Kosachani, tribal children love. It fits all the tribes, all the tribes. Now, I'm a tribal son. The tribe that I'm talking about is Kajanti. That's my father's tribe, see. And we, as the offsprings, are the tribal children. And now we have Amatakwedi by birth. And any offsprings through us, Atakwedi, Nayatki, the tribal children of the Takwedi. So, as I told them at the way that our relationship has interwoven. You listen to someone speaking. Achid means my son. Tuach ish eusiti means you also became my father. My son, and you also became my father. And so in return, he is the same way to me again. See how intricate
I know it's intricate. I learn a little bit more about this every year I live in Southeast Alaska. We're going to take a look at a videotape that we pre-recorded about the people who came into this celebration and how they came in. There were a number of dance groups who arrived just before the celebration began. In fact, they began arriving in full force on Wednesday, which was actually the day before the celebration. And as you'll see in just a second, they were already into the spirit of this occasion.
Public charities, public corporations can work together.
They came by ferry. By little plane. By big plane. The dancers were greeted by dancers. It was a warm Juneau welcome.
Welcome to Juneau, and thank you for coming.
Celebration 86 begins with the theme Sharing Our Children, for it's the children who must carry on the traditions of the elders. Like Jimmy George, the 97-year-old chief of the Angoon Killer Whale clan.
He's the last of the elders right now. And from Angoon to our people, he's chief, the oldest chief we got.
Celebration 86 brings clans from all parts of Southeast.
That's where all our Tlingit nation gather, and all friends get reacquainted, and we're just happy to, we've gone through a lot during the land sue and land claims as Tlingit and Haida people, and we're happy to come together once in a while, celebrate.
Celebration 86 to me is sharing of love to other nations, the Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshians. And to me, I feel it's not only to the three groups, Tlingit and the Haida and the Tsimshians, but I feel it's also a gesture to the United States or to the world, as to me, is that we are a part of the world, and we are people who express love and for one another and for our grandchildren and for our grandparents. And it's just a respect to our past ancestors and respect to ourselves and respect to the future generations to come.
We're back live now at Centennial Hall, and the Tsimshian Nishka dancers have just come on stage. They're going to be dancing for a while, and we'll let you take a look at a little bit of their performance as we talk a little bit more. I do have Tom Jackson of Cake here, and you're a Tlingit, but these are Tsimshians. Are there anything of their tradition that is your tradition? Do you relate to what they do in their dances and their songs? I know you share amongst yourselves also.
We do share some of their songs. Even they
It is such an honor and a privilege to be among you.
Say, sometimes you hear Confucius say, you know,
Show you what the group
we have some sayings.
in the past 3 years.
There's one that I use very much. Any chance that I get, it goes like this.
Every time we perform.
A Tsimshian was once
Real honor for us to be standing
heard
on the
saying,
stage to share it with you.
whatever he makes,
We always do a piece and a welcome dance for each performance. Tonight,
how does that go?
just do the
He values it himself, really values it, treasures it. Anything he makes. Now, I was talking to you about this tribal children. That's one of them. Our Tlingit children. Our priceless children, because we made them. We made them. That's just like what the Tsimshians said.
Well, let's listen right now to what the Tsimshians are singing on stage. We'll take a look and watch them dance for a few minutes. Those are the Tsimshian dancers.
We have a request
on stage
to do
right now, live at Centennial Hall. Celebration 86 began on Thursday morning, actually, with a spectacle of a grand entrance dance, which the Tsimshians were a part of. But all the dance groups followed, came in, and they were followed by the welcoming speeches and the responses. We'd like to show you some of that.
Whenever the money we get, our forefathers, grandfathers, saw it was time to teach the children moral values. They tell the story
Goedendag, Jaak, saya. Ayay tataya 2 woods. The Huntaya Oxaya.
Years ago, our people enjoyed their culture, and he referred to it as a life that appeared to so many as the life that was passing away. And today, it pleases him to see so many young people taking part and reviving the culture of our forefathers.
Ya ishane shi hane. Ya khada kautia take hanaya. Ya yachtuya konal chish.
And he further stated that it is fine that we're all together like this as one people, almost like one tribe and one clan, signifying the thoughts of unity and peace and love, and also indirectly referring how much they valued the land of their people, their fathers' people.
Simgiyat, Sigiramana, Samogit. The Tsimshian nation is honored to be with our brother nations, the Tlingit and the Haida, for the next 3 days. We are honored to share some of our culture and traditions with you.
It's sweetheart, Gawit. Hat is Jardins, her good Jewish and sweet on hat is quans, Cassin Lagudingo. My people sent me here to express their love to you throughout this time and forever. But being with you folks and representing our group meant so much to me that I had to come here and share these next 2 or 3 days in sharing our tribal children's love with you folks.
Following the welcoming speeches, the responses, and an opening song, the dancing began in earnest.
This time they went deeper because the little beaver was having such a great time. Porcupine started running out of breath. He scratched and scratched and scratched.
Well, we're back live now at Centennial Hall. On stage still are the Tsimshian Mishka dancers. Their leader is Louise D'Angeli, and she's telling a story that she said is a story that teaches morals to children. It's a story of the porcupine and the beaver. The porcupine and the beaver on stage now. I hope you can see that.
Porcupine finally came to. He got up, he woke up. He was cold and miserable and hungry. There was absolutely nothing on that island to keep him warm and no food, and it wasn't any fun. He remembered what his grandfather used to tell him. He used to sing to him the North Wind song. And he remembered that he also sang to the falling star. So he thought to himself, that's what I'll do. I'll sing to the north wind and cry and call on the North Star. So he started singing.
The past 3 days, we've been treated to performances by about 20 dance groups. This is one of them that you're seeing on stage. If you were watching our broadcast over the past 2 nights, you got to see a number of those groups, and we'll show you a few more tonight, starting with an entrance song by the Thunderbird Clan.
The first song we're going to be doing is Gusu'e Kagwantanietki. We love to sing about Kagwantanietki. This song was composed by my pop's father, Austin Hammond. Nichku Kashi Gusu'gao Guk. As you know, they not only traded furs. In the olden days, they traded songs. We have what you call the Aleut song. And any Aleuts in the audience are welcome to join us on this song. We have Aleuts in our dance group who all come out and dance to show respect to that part of their heritage.
back live now at Centennial Hall. The Tsimshian dancers are still on stage. They're an energetic group of people, and they have wonderful, strong voices, which you can all hear and see. Tom Jackson of Cake is still with me. We're watching the performances from a nice perch up here above the performances. And I wanted to ask Tom about, I think, an important aspect of all this, which is how the dances, the songs, the stories, all these traditions get passed down to the next generation. Are they written down somewhere? Is it all orally passed down? How do the various groups, or how have the various groups kept hold of those traditions and then passed them on to the younger people? How's that generally done?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that question, because I think from time immemorial, the important thing that the people have trained and prepared for was to carry anything that is important. In other words, they were computerizing everything in their minds. And that was the foremost things people were being trained for in their tribes. As sometimes they told some stories, 4 days, 4 nights. You know, I can't even read that long. And that was how keen the mind was, and that's how they trained their minds. So everything was done by memory. Everything was handed down. Now, when they're telling a story, you can't even spit, you can't even cough. They want everybody to be quiet. The next night, when the storyteller comes out, he doesn't say, the one that stopped that night before, doesn't say, now my partner's going to start here. He would ask the man that's going to start telling the story, where did I stop? So that person backs up and replays that record, word for word. And then this last night's storyteller would say, that's right, now you continue. And that's how minds were being trained and being prepared. So anything that happened in a tribe itself, if there was any trouble, why did the trouble start? That was recorded in the minds of the people. And so is the songs, the same way. Who was the composer? Why did he compose that song? And so goes to other things. And the speeches that they give, they tell these different parables. And it's told because of why certain things have happened and what it added up to. There's always the beginning and there's always a reason. They just don't say, well, I feel like telling this story, and stop. He has to finish it.
It sounds about as complicated as the family groupings. I mean, it's a process. It's like how you relate to your family almost.
That's right.
It's a very intricate sort of, and you have to pay attention to a lot of details and have a very good mind, as you've said.
Yes, that's right. You have to. That is one of the things that you must listen. You must listen. That is the word. They can tell a person just how he acts when a man is going to be a real man or not a real man as he goes in life, just by the way he listens.
Well, it is certainly different from white culture, as we know, right? I mean, it's just...
That's right. That's right. Because now, today, everything is recorded, right? And now we even carry recorders and all those things. And our minds are getting lazy because of that. You know. But during those days, minds are real sharp. I wish I remember the story about a man that came over, was sent over to Cake from Haynes. He came on up to this man that knew how to carve. This man started telling him a story. People were sitting in the house. When he got through, he stood up, walked on out, walked right into the boat, and off he went. They were all sitting there. And he finally asked those that were sitting there, "You folks understand what was said?" Everybody looking at each other. I said, "No." He said, "I am hired to carve a totem pole a certain time of the year. They want me up at Haynes."
I bet you have many stories to tell similar to that. I wish we had all night. How these songs and stories are learned from the past and then passed on through the generations, as you can tell, is a story in itself. The Chilkoot Tlingit Cultural Camp is located near Haynes, and it melds the history of cultural traditions and the philosophy of the Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian people. Tribal elders and artisans teach crafts there, such as carving, beading, and the beading of button blankets, drum making, and legends. The Learning Center was started by Austin Hammond, another Nakani, who is and an elder who's been very important in this celebration and the other two celebrations that have happened. Earlier today, the teachers at the Chilkoot camp and some of their students danced for us. We'll show you a sampling of their performance, and we'll also find out from the new Klein dancers of Sitka about how they learned about their songs and dances.
So the children's going to be, like I was saying, they're going to be together. With you old folks, I'm 76 years old now. But still I could jitterbug yet. So the children's going to work for all of us, my great-great-grandchildren. Our roots are together, no matter what color we are. Our people, we are going to be together. Right now, we had a tough time fighting for our land. So I tried to teach them what to do so they could understand. So this is the story I had for the grandchildren. I'm proud to be here with them.
We had an opportunity a couple of months ago to listen, and we were given from cylinder tapes a collection of songs that were done in 1904. And we were so proud of the fact that my father, Charlie Joseph Sr., had taught us songs that were so close to what was done traditionally long ago.
You're back live now at Centennial Hall. You just saw the new clean dancers from Sitka, pre-recorded earlier in the day. And just leaving the stage now are the Tsimshian Nishka dancers, who had been joined just a few minutes ago by dancers from the Haida dance group, too. Louise D'Angeli is at the mic, and they're just leaving the stage now. There'll be another dance group coming up. The Marks Trail Gay Sun dancers are coming up in just a minute. If you've just joined this broadcast, this is the third day of Celebration 86, which is a biannual celebration of the Tlingit, the Haida, and the Tsimshian nations, which is sponsored by the Sealaska Heritage Foundation here in Juneau. It's a time when Tlingits, Haidas, and Tsimshians from Southeast get together and share their traditions in story, song, and dance. We wanted to let you know that this broadcast is being brought to you live by KTOO Television in Juneau and the Sealaska Heritage Foundation.
Kunal cheese, Hawa, Lukalam. Thank you. Yatsuner.
As you see, the Tsimshian Nishka dancers are just finishing their dance. I told you earlier that we would have the Marks Trail Gay Sun dancers here. Actually, it's going to be the Mount St. Elias dancers from Yakutat should be up next, we've been told. Let's break away right now from the live action here in Centennial Hall and take a look at some more of the dance performances that we pre-recorded to show viewers at home earlier in the day.
somebody asked me where Yakutat was at. And the best description I can tell you is that it's on the northwest corner of southeastern Alaska. So that's where you find Yakutat. But the spear dance was actually a peace dance. Our two tribes, the northern part of Yakutat, had a dispute between them, and they agreed not to fight. So they met on a river and would charge each other, but then stop short and back off. They go back up, regroup, and then they charge again, and they stop and back up. That's what we did the first time. And so they decided that they were going to have peace from there on, and the next dance is laying down of the spear.
The Mount St. Elias dancers were on the tape you just saw, and coincidentally, they're on the stage right now performing. Robert Milton was just singing original compositions. We're going to do 2 or 3 of those right now. Thomas Jackson of Cake is still sticking here with me. We've been watching the performance and enjoying it very much. We mentioned a little earlier, Tom, the real special thing that happened last night, which was the very first performance of the Nakahiti Theater Group, which is sponsored by Sealaska Heritage Foundation. It was a performance of a Tlingit myth called the Sea Monster, and you mentioned a little earlier that to you that was a very special or noteworthy occasion that happened last night. Why?
Well, for one thing, I think since I could remember, my grandfather told me a story about this. That was the first thing that took much impression on me. Unakadet was the name of this animal. And incidentally, my father, his brother, and there was about 4 or 5 other fishermen that was going on out to Hazy Island after Seagull Lakes. One morning, they had left early in the morning from Pillar Bay. They were just about outside of Timinkoff, just before the sun started to rise. Here was this thing started appearing out of the water. It was a triangle-shaped thing. And the man that was holding the wheel woke up all the men on board. And as soon as they all looked at it, they know it was Unakadet, since it is called myth. It is true, it's an animal.
There is a sea monster.
You see, there is such a thing as sea monster.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yes, and that's why I took so much interest in the way it was prepared. And I thought what do you call him, the director or whoever wrote this whole thing must have studied quite a bit in order to get this thing as close as the way it has been told many times, you know, that this thing is an indication of luck. That's what it really is, an indication of luck.
Well, as I said, it was one of the real special events this year. It's something very unusual, and it was the very first performance of the theater. And the theater is sponsored by the Sealaska Heritage Foundation, which is, as I said earlier, sponsoring this whole 3-day extravaganza. The play, The Sea Monster, sort of recreates what we call a Tlingit myth, and Tom says is not a myth. The play is really about love, honor, betrayal, and redemption in a family. It was written by David Hunsaker, who is very knowledgeable about these things. And the stars of the play were Ethan Pettigrew, Gary Wade, Tracy Williams, Charles Dennis, Rhonda Mann, and Scott Douglas.
Can you hear me, Sammy? We are hungry. My family, my village, hungry. Please, come to me. Gonakade! 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 The sea monster! The sea monster! In these dreams, its eyes are black, its teeth are huge. It watches me. In these dreams, it watches me. Every day and every night.
I see wolves that hunt down on the floor of the sea. Their teeth are yellow. They sniff for blood. I see flying fish that soar clear up to the frozen winter moon and return as spirits that howl and groan and whisper beneath the ice on the river.
We know about your dreams, Mother. You're a shaman.
And in these dreams, they are laughing. All of these spirits laughing at a young man who is afraid of his dreams. A young man who is afraid of the water.
The play, The Sea Monster, will be performed for the public tomorrow night and Wednesday night here at Centennial Hall. So if you'd like to see it, come down to Centennial Hall either tomorrow night or Wednesday night. On stage right now are the Mount St. Elias dancers from Yakutat, led by Paul Henry.
Do sana do sa, do sana do sa.
The spiritual dimension of the three cultures has been an important aspect of all the performances and the stories and the traditional speeches we've heard here. There's a spirituality involved with honoring ancestors, elders, and the natural world. And as the Haida dancers made clear earlier today, there is another kind of spirituality that is an integral part of the native world as well.
God is very real to us, and he's very kind to us. And we thank him every day for our existence. He is the source of our supply. And that's why we're here together, too, to feel the love from everybody, the unity that we feel, and the cooperation, and the fact that you have included us as Haida Nation. We thank you.
The first gospel song that we're going to sing for you is How Great Thou Art. I'd like to have you all join us in the chorus. Okay. It salana it kola ginan qaldangaut kengan gin wadluan slanges dan tlasayan kayus kengan hilangayus kudangan dang dagwikai tlengwayong tangas kengan wagem di hataday salana dengan kejugan saudang hidang saudang hidang wagem di hataday salana dengan kejugan saudang hidang saudang Let's sing the chorus together. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Thank you.
That was a moving moment this morning, earlier in the morning, as you saw. Right now on stage, the Mount St. Elias dancers from Yakutat are performing. I think they're about to conclude their dance. Tom Jackson from Cake, we were talking a little bit earlier about how culture and tradition are passed down, and you mentioned how different this celebration seems to you than the last one in 1984. And do you think that there's been that much improvement in people's thinking about their culture, or what's changed?
Yes, I think so. I think every 2 years that this is being put on the people, between now and the next 2 years, there will be another turn again. Because from what I noticed, from 84 to this one, there are more young people participating in this. And I know that it's because of the parents and family discussing this at homes, and also having that JOM programs is helping along. But it has to be where the parents are involved, like any other thing. I think they're starting to see the results of this gathering. That now there are more young people participating. This is the first thing I noticed, how many young people there is here. They outnumbered the old people almost, the way it looked to me. So it looks good to me.
Well, I believe Paul Marks of the Sealaska Heritage Foundation, who coordinated this event, said that he was expecting 200 to 300 dance groups and participants. Then we've got an extra, I don't know how many hundred in the audience tonight, and we've had good-sized audiences, except maybe early in the morning, but there have been good-sized audiences each afternoon and each evening. There have been a lot of people here.
That's right. That's right. I think it's starting to rub off on a lot of people. I think it's starting, and as we say, this Nakahiti that was put on last night, I think that really added on to the whole attraction of this. It's something new, and yet I think it's going to be read on books, and then people will start getting curious, what's going on?
A good thing, spurring interest in this. It is a really wonderful thing to be a part of. It's been wonderful to cover it too, and to be here for all 3 days. Getting ready to come on the stage right now are the Marks Trail Gayson dancers, most of whom are from Juneau. They're led by Nora Dauenhauer. And it's very apparent if you've been down here for any part of this celebration, and hopefully it's apparent to you watching on television tonight if you've taken a good look at some of these costumes, the importance of native arts and crafts in the making of the costumes, with all the beadwork, the headdresses, and all the beautiful regalia that we've seen. It's another essential part of Native tradition, and a number of artisans have had their creations on display during the celebration. Rosemary Alexander talked with several of them.
At 88, Bessie Fasaya works every day to preserve her native art and culture. She makes dolls, moccasins, pins, jewelry, and other trinkets, which she learned from her mother and grandmothers.
Yeah, that's porcupine quilt. I got lickless too. This one is lickless. There. And I got, this one is, I got a piece of sealskin here. But the rest are all beads here. Then I got all, this is sisterhood color. Royal blue and white is sisterhood color. Then I have different colors. This one is Christmas color. If you're interested in Christmas color, here's Christmas color.
How often does she use her talent?
Every day. I kill the time during day. If I don't do anything, I go sleep here. But when I'm moving my hands, it makes me happy. It keeps me awake.
There are lots of things on sale here, from dried hooligan and hooligan grease, supposed to be much better for you than cod liver oil, to fur trim parkas.
I'm doing an eagle for a bag of a vest. They're glass beads. Most of them are seed beads. And I kind of mix my work so that, like I say, it can bring the color out and it's more detailed.
How long might it take you to make this eagle?
Well, probably about 2 weeks, I think. This bag I have here is called an octopus bag. And it took me 4 months to work on it, 4 months. And I have the inside lined with cotton, and it's all hand-stitched. There's none of it done on machine. It's all done by hand, and these are the old patterns that used to belong to an aunt of mine that's originally from here, is Maggie Anderson. They usually use it for dancing, like they're doing over here, and on some of the ladies you see around here, some of them have them on, and it's just more or less part of their regalia, and that can be passed down for years.
We're back live now in Centennial Hall, having given you a chance to see some of the arts and crafts that are also on display here. On stage right now are the Marks Trail Gay Sun Dancers, led by Nora Dauenhauer. Jackson of Cake, there is a raven on the stage. It looks like a raven anyway. It's a person in a raven costume. What is going on? Can you tell me?
Yes, it is a raven. It is a raven. Yes, this is Nancy Jackson, who has been a raven since I remember. And I don't think anyone performs this type of dancing better than she does. She really has the movement of the raven when she dances.
What is the dance about? I know the raven is very important in Tlingit culture. What story are they telling, or what are they conveying in this dance?
I really can't tell you. Somebody might tell you better, but I really don't know.
A number of groups perform this dance. Some of the children performed it the other day. Children came out in raven costumes. I assume, not speaking the language myself, but I assume it's sort of a celebration of the importance of the raven in your culture. The raven's a creator in Tlingit culture, at least.
That's right. That's the way the story goes. That there was a raven that had created everything, beginning with the earth. And you know, some interesting thing that as I was reading the Bible one time when Noah's Ark was floating during the flood time, Noah actually gave the raven the first chance when he opened the window of the ark. He let the raven go so that it might bring some indication if there is land exposed anywhere, to bring either a leaf or some green stuff. But the raven never returned. And this is where the raven, in my own personal way of thinking, he made up his mind as he was flying that I'll tell everybody that I have created the earth. So he didn't go back to Noah.
Another good story from Tom Jackson of Cake, who is one of the Nakanis here at Celebration 86. He serves as a master of ceremonies along with Dr. Walter Soboleff and Cyril George. They have been on the stage introducing groups and keeping things running. I believe, Tom, you were also involved in the planning of this celebration. Were you on the planning commission for Celebration 86? What kinds of decisions did you all make, and how did that all come together?
Well, we were trying to recall what has taken place in '84 that needs to be improved. And one of the major problems we had was time limit for the performers, and people really complained to us. I remember that we have assigned 15 minutes, to many of the groups, and personally, I didn't feel too good about it, but with the amount of participation, I thought that was what the best we can do. But this year, we said, let's give them half hour. If they can cut it short, fine. And if the next group goes over time, we can use what these others had left. So that way everything will be even all the time. And it seemed to have worked out much better.
Well, you and I both know there are many jokes about Indian time.
Yeah.
But Indian time has not applied in this celebration. Things have really gone according to schedule, and it seems like groups have been aware of the time they've taken and are courteous to the next group that's coming on to not take too much of their time, and things have moved along very well. So I think you've succeeded in what you tried to do this year.
Yeah, that's right. And I think I must give credit to Robert Martin Sr. and David Katzik for their effort. I think they have been sleeping on this for quite a while. And between the two of them, I'd say those people deserve recognition for the success of this 86. I think we should recognize those people.
There has been an incredible amount of planning, preparation. I know that Sealaska Heritage Foundation actually began planning some of these things almost a year ago, right after the other celebration ended and into the next year. So I know they've been working on it a long time, and I think it's to their credit that things have gone so smoothly this year. It has been great. Well, we've talked about dance groups that have been dancing together for a long time. We've talked a little bit about the younger dancers that you've been so encouraged to see here this year. While we wait for the grand finale, which I think is just about to start, we want to show you some of the newer dance groups that were performing here this year. I think most of them were performing together for the first time. They performed a little earlier, and we pre-recorded them to show to you. About to witness something that's quite amazing. It's called the grand finale of all the nations, all the dance groups dancing together. They're all coming in through the door right now, and it's hard to describe what I'm looking at, but you'll be able to see them in just a minute. may have joined our broadcast in progress. You're watching the grand finale of Celebration 86, which has been a 3-day gathering of the Tlingit, the Haida, and the Tsimshian nations of Southeast Alaska. This is the grand finale that will close off this 3-day celebration. All the dance groups are coming onto the stage right now in all of their finest regalia.
Huna dancers. Juneau dancers.
Tom Jackson, watching this is hard to describe. What does this make you feel watching this? I'm not a Native person, and I'm certainly excited. How do you feel watching it? What's it like?
As I said a little while ago, the longer you seem to look at this, it just about makes your blood curdle. You know, it brings so many things back. This is not done overnight. It took years of the Alaska Native Brotherhood. They have talked about it. How can we bring our heritage back? You know, and it's been talked for over years and years and years. And it finally came to this point where I certainly do thank God that while I'm still alive, that I can look upon these people and see that what those that have gone on today that you've heard the roll call on, they are the people that have started this whole movement. Now it finally materialized. And I see that it's going to get better and better every year.
Kagagainak. 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 And Goon. Kagagainak. Kagagainak.
As the groups are coming on stage, Cyril George, another one of our Nakanis, our master of ceremonies, is calling out the names of the communities and the clans. That's what you're hearing in the background. And they're still coming through the door, and I would say there are close to, 250 dancers on the stage right now. And as I said, they're still coming through the door, and there's no end in sight. Haida dancers. We're turning enough. We're turning enough.
juried anak. Yagainak, Yagainak. Juried anak. Con. Juried anak. Juried anak. Juried anak. Here you go, con. Here you go, con. Saxman dancer.
Tom, there are about, I think, close to 300 dancers on the stage now. They're filling the stage. They're overlapping onto the floor. One of the things that I see this year that's a little different from 1984, some people from Huna have a Huna sign. Is that a tradition, or is that just something you think they're showing off that they're from Huna?
Yes, that's a new stunt, and I'm afraid it's gonna start set fire for next year. I think the signs are going to be much bigger too.
Do you think they're doing it because they think they might be on television?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the idea.
Con. Juried anak. Juried anak.
for those of you who just joined us, you're watching the last day of Celebration 86, the grand finale with all the dancers of all the clans and all the nations dancing together on stage. As I said, it looks to me like there are about 350 dancers, maybe around 300 dancers on the stage and in the aisles right now. Dr. Walter Soboleff is also with us at this time. Dr. Soboleff, you've been instrumental in planning this and making sure everything goes well. How are you feeling right now?
Well, this is as expected, and a lot of times you wonder if it would come through, but it came through in great fashion. We were right on time, everyone cooperated, and in excellent spirit.
You have been watching live coverage of Celebration 86. This has been the grand finale with all the dancers. Tom Jackson of Cake, I want to thank you very much for being with us tonight.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Thanks for explaining a lot of things to us that have been going on tonight and these last 3 days. There has been 3 days of Celebration 86. Songs, dances, stories, all day long it's been going on. We'd like to thank our viewers who have been watching over the Rural Alaska Television Network. Those of you who are watching at home, we'd like to thank you too. This has been a grand event to watch, to be a part of. Hopefully it will happen 2 years from now. And for now, for this evening, for KTOO Television and the Sealaska Heritage Foundation, I'm Betsy Brenneman for Tom Jackson and Dr. Walter Soboleff, saying thanks for joining us. Have a good evening.
Okay, you duck. Sorry, all the excitement, the things that are happening. It's been very good from beginning to end. We're closing. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all the groups.
Celebration 86 and tonight's live telecast are made possible with financial support from the National Endowment for the Arts, the Alaska Legislature through a grant to the Alaska Department of Education, the City and Borough of Juneau, Cluckwan Incorporated, Sealaska Corporation, and the Alaska State Council on the Arts.
This special live telecast is a production of KTOO Television in cooperation with the Sealaska Heritage Foundation.